The Marvel Cinematic Universe has been struggling for a while post-Endgame, but Thor Love and Thunder is one of the movies that really woke a lot of people up. It had a terrible reception, disappointed at the box office, and so many people looked at Taika Waititi and said, what in the world were you thinking with this movie? And the reality is, this is Taika Waititi. Even Chris Hemsworth, the star of the movie, Thor himself, kind of thought it was a joke. I cringe and laugh equally at it. Chris Hemsworth speaks out on Thor Backlash. And of course, there was a lot of controversy surrounding Taika Waititi making fun of the bad CGI at the same time where the Marvel VFX workers were pissed that they were being so overworked. It was just a nightmare scenario. Well, once again, Taika Waititi's responding to some of the criticism, and not for the first time, basically says, go fuck yourself if you want to see what you saw in the comic books. Thor Love and Thunder director Taika Waititi pushes back against film's critics. If you want it to be exactly like the comic, read the comic. Well, the problem isn't that people want to see exactly like the comic, but if you're going to make a story that's inspired by the comic books, it should feel something like that, not whatever bastardization you want. It's almost like the fan base that is supporting you, that's what they're fans of, and you go and do something completely different. Weird how that works. This is not the first time that Taika Waititi has said this. From the moment they announced that he was going to be doing Thor Love and Thunder, he was talking shit to people that were worried he would screw up the lore. Marvel's Thor Love and Thunder director Taika Waititi trolls Thor fans, I'll ruin your mythos in a minute, baby. And then just look at this. This is a response that he got in the immediate aftermath of them announcing the movie. It's due to your Marvel work that this mess is possible. Your writing ruined Thor, his mythos, and his character. So no, I don't want to see this film if we're truly getting a Jane Foster Thor. I'll ruin your mythos in a minute, baby. Sorry in advance, sucka. And then he replies to this person, I'm so depressed. There isn't a single announcement regarding this movie I've liked. There. You'll get over it when you realize you don't know what you want until I give it to you. Well, clearly, people didn't want Thor, Love and Thunder, but let's get into some of these comments right here. During an interview with comicbookmovie.com, Waititi began by admitting he found it very difficult to nail down the film's tone as he was torn between his incessant need to add his tired brand of humor to everything and the gravity of Jane Foster's cancer-based storyline. It's an ongoing battle because I want my films to be entertaining and I want a lot of humor in them to poke fun not only at the idea of a space Viking, but also to poke fun at humans, how we bumble our way through life on this planet. The comic run is very serious and Jane's story is especially tense. And so to try to find humor on that stuff as well as making it emotional was always going to be difficult. We struggled with that. We wrestled with it throughout the edit right up till we finished the film. We did funny scenes about cancer. We did way more tragic scenes about having cancer. Some audiences loved it. Some audiences really wanted it to be just like the comics. But you know, as I always say, if you want it to be exactly like the comics, read the comic. You've got to change things here and there to make it a film. Now, I will not argue with him that you do need to change some things in an adaptation, absolutely. But the reality is, if you depart so far from the core of that story, why are you even adapting it in the first place? That's where you're getting this shit, is the comic books. It's what you're inspired by. But then when you do something that is completely and wholeheartedly not at all like what people would expect from it, you can't be surprised when those hardcore fans, the most hardcore of the hardcore, say, what the fuck are you doing? Especially when you shit talk them all the time, I'll ruin your mythos in a minute. That was 4 years ago. But he held true on that. That's exactly what happened in this movie, and it didn't go over very well. Made around $750 million at the global box office, but unfortunately for them, with a $150 million marketing budget, with a $250 million production budget, in all likelihood did not pass the break-even point. Now, places like Deadline try to make excuses like, well, if Disney buys the rights to stream it for $100 million, if they pay themselves $100 million, then this film would be profitable. But it wasn't at the box office. I think Taika Waititi is miserable in franchises. I don't want him to do anything close to a Star Wars movie. I think he should stop making Marvel shit because he doesn't operate well like that. I think he completely changed the character of Thor and the entire dynamic around him as a person, and he ruined him completely for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Thor Love and Thunder was the culmination of that. But it's not a surprise that Taika Waititi just blames fans for being too demanding. Well, if you just want that story from the comic, read the comic. If you're not going to use that story, then don't do a bastardized adaptation of it. How about that? How about come up with your own original shit, stop stealing things that were done better than the way you did it, and stop blaming fans when the reaction isn't what you want. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.